Being able to participate in an international field school experience, it's exciting. And it's filled with anticipation, and it also takes planning. And as Robbie Burns advises, though, with planning, the best laid plans of mice and men can often go awry. Hello, everyone. My name is Paula Kent. And in 2017, and at the age of 53, almost 54, I left my career in retail banking, and I started in a new direction, a new career in tourism. I was accepted to the Royal Roads Master of Arts Tourism Management Program through the flexible admission, as I didn't have an undergraduate degree. And my story today involves a directed studies field trip to the United Kingdom with a completely different cohort than the one that I was with. And it's a story of when my own actions allowed the experience to go awry. But it's that very awryness which has brought me to the stage today. I want to read from my journal entry from that very first day. It was 3:30 on a rainy afternoon in London. I was right on time. I rode the elevator down to the lobby, and I was lifted up over the fatigue and the jet lag with anticipation. And as I walked across the lobby of the Ibis Hotel, I heard chatter and laughter, and smiling, I knew right away it was the, as of yet, unknown participants of the field school. But the closer I got to them, my smile disappeared, and the more I began to feel as if I was opening a door to a party that had already started. You see, I stood there, just outside the gathering, and I held myself back because I was so, acutely aware of my age, and so highly attuned to all of their ages. And I was consumed by a limiting belief. You fool, what are you doing here? You're too old. And that little nasty voice in my head played over and over, you're too old, you're too old. You see, I've always believed that we can do anything. We just have to try our best. We need to engage. Oh, and that high ideal was dashed, overshadowed by this narrative, this ageist narrative that continued to play in my head. I'm being too old. I completely discounted all of the commonalities, our schooling, our research, our passion for tourism and travel. And I fixated on a visible difference, our vast age gap. And that was the beginning of an incredibly profound internal struggle. It was a submersion. I was sinking in my own ageist thoughts. And as the 10 days of field school went by, my internal battle grew and grew. Outwardly, I chit-chatted and I smiled and I engaged. But it was a mask of artificial confidence. And the struggle just continued. Inwardly, I was shrinking and retreating. It undermined my abilities, my research, the very essence of what I had so anticipated and so planned for. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, it completely fell apart. A suggestion was made to me by my professor, the faculty leading the field school. I had shared with him a term I had learned from the theater called breaking the fourth wall. And for those who might not know what the breaking the fourth wall is, briefly, it's there's an invisible wall between the audience and the performance on stage in theater. And so when the actors break the fourth wall, they reach out and acknowledge the audience. So anyways, he had suggested to creatively apply this concept to my own tourism research. Well, usually this would be something I would absolutely engage with. It was creative, and I would have mentally danced with how it could work. But it was too much, and the mask fell, shattered, and I just said no. And understandably, his face got slightly confused. And then on that confusion, I just dug in my heels. And I actually said, I actually don't think that concept brings anything new to tourism research. Well, as you can imagine, his body language said it all, from confusion to resignation. And he turned. And it was then that I realized I had fully let myself down. I had failed myself. And as I watched him walk away, it was as if time slowed down, and I was in this liminal space, and a new knowing bubbled up and emerged for me. A knowing that self-doubt and that ageist narrative was of critical importance. And it was that moment and that new knowing that is informed and formed a new journey than the one that I had thought I was on. A journey in which I was going to end with a tourism career. And if you're wondering, I did not actually apply that fourth wall concept to any of my future tourism research, but I did graduate. And his suggestion and my refusal profoundly changed my trajectory. After graduation, I wrote and published a book all about self-doubt and failure and the fear that accompanies it. But more importantly, that moment ignited for me a curiosity and a passion. I really wanted to understand my own ageist thoughts, explore what it is in our culture and society that constructed those. I mean, after all, aging is a very normal experience. So I hold his retreating back as a blessing, because that's the impetus that encouraged me to apply to doctoral education here at Royal Roads, and to gather and explore stories of women, of how we experience our aging, and can we reconnect our aging back to the natural world, because it is natural. So in those 10 days of field school, what felt like an unraveling of myself was so very necessary. It took me from a narrow view into one in which I can see boundless possibilities. In any travel, but international education, it's so important. It's a pressure cooker of learning and of immersion. But it's not just a test of endurance. It's a crucible for transformation. The intensity of my travel experience taught me something that I maybe never would have known, that failing is actually more educational than succeeding. And I absolutely encourage and embrace failures and reflect on that and insert grace, because through inserting grace into our failing experiences can lead to profound insights and personal growth. And so I just want to leave everyone with just one thought, that no matter where life takes you, you are never too old. You are never too old to reinvent yourself. You're never too old to learn and to grow. And on this journey of lifelong learning, the best laid plans, well, they just may go awry. They're going to deviate from the expected, but it's in the very deviations that our passions and our true stories unfold. Thank you.